Chapter 22:35. The few students roared with laughter. Yan Yu's mood was lifted by the male students' boasting. Suddenly, a clear voice floated over from the spacious training ground. Yo. This student, when did I tempt you to bring me out of the training forest? As the person involved, why don't I know about it? This voice was extremely pleasing to the ears. But the words that came out were filled with an incomparably chilly chill. The few students who were still boasting instantly felt a chill down their spines as all their mocking voices were stuck in their throats. They saw a red figure leisurely walking out from the darkness at the corner of the training ground where the weapons rack was placed. The young lady's fine black hair was tied up tightly behind her head without a single strand of hair left. The red outfit clung tightly to her petite figure. Her body was drenched in sweat. But her expression didn't show any signs of fatigue. Instead, her lips were curled into a faint smile. When the few class of God students' gazes fell onto Yi-Ching Luo's face, they drew in a breath of cold air in disbelief. Yi-Ching Luo. Why was she here? And the direction she walked out from was the opposite direction of the training ground's entrance. Which meant to say, didn't Yi-Ching Luo just complete 50 kilometers of weight-bearing cross-country and return to the training ground? Instead, she had been here since long ago. No. Impossible. How could Yi-Ching Luo possibly complete 50 kilometers of weight-bearing cross-country faster than them? You must have forfeited in advance, unable to complete this special training, so you returned to the training ground earlier. That boasting male student pointed at Yi-Ching Luo as he took a few steps back in disbelief. Yi-Ching Luo's brows rose as her gorgeous face blossomed into a beautiful smile. How could I forfeit in advance? If I forfeit in advance, who is the lady who shamelessly pestered you and begged you to bring her out of the training forest? The male student's face turned pale. This was something he had casually boasted about. He didn't expect that the person in question would hear everything. However, when he saw the look in Yan Yu's eyes, the male student made up his mind. He clenched his teeth and said angrily, Yan Yu, look at her. She admitted it herself. She shamelessly tried to seduce me into taking her away from the training forest. Yan Yu's face was sinister as his eyes were filled with viciousness. Yi-Ching Luo, I don't care who you seduced to come back here, but special training is after all special training. Isn't it too disgusting for you to use such underhanded methods? Yes, it is indeed disgusting. Yi-Ching Luo nodded in agreement. An alluring smile hung on her lips, but the chill in her eyes revealed a bone-chilling coldness. The quality of the students in the class of gods indeed disgusts me. You, Yi-Ching Luo, you're still trying to quibble. Chapter 22:36. Half an hour ago. The male student's eyes widened in disbelief. You're talking nonsense. Half an hour ago. We were all in the actual combat training forest. How could you? How could it be? His face turned pale as he stared at Yi-Ching Luo, unable to believe her words. It wasn't only this male student who couldn't believe it. The students from the class of God couldn't believe this fact. The students from the class of God, had carried weights for 50 kilometers and were not able to reach the training grounds within the allotted time. Devil classes waste, how could it be possible for them to be resting in the training grounds an hour earlier? Unless Yi-Ching Luo gave up the special training midway. Yan Yu's pretty face turned pale. As though she had found an excuse, she stared fiercely at Yi-Ching Luo. Didn't the devil class spout nonsense, that you wouldn't be carried out of the training forest? Didn't you dare to challenge the master? You actually gave up the special training midway. If the devil class's students are so disinterested in the special training, then what's the point of coming to the class of God? The few students from the class of God immediately understood what was going on when they heard that. Yi-Ching Luo must have given up the special training and returned to the training grounds early. He. Yiqing Luo's throat emitted a soft laughter. It's not important whether I gave up the special training or not. What's important is that student, even if you're in the class of God all year round, living a high and mighty life, you should also know how important reputation is to a lady. She was still laughing. Her smile was brilliant, like a gorgeous rose that had bloomed. But that smile didn't reach her eyes. Just one look at her made one feel an indescribable cold wind seeping into their skin. It was extremely cold. The male student's legs turned to jelly as he looked at Yiqing Luo, shivering. Yiqing Luo took a step closer and smiled sweetly. You've ruined my reputation, spreading rumors about me. Tell me. How are you going to compensate me? An invisible pressure was released, pressing down in an overwhelming manner. The male student's pupils suddenly dilated, as though he had seen something shocking. He actually sat down on the ground. The other students from the class of God felt extremely embarrassed. Their faces were burning hot. No one was willing to help the male student up. Yan Yu looked at Yiqing Luo's complacent look and clenched his fingers tightly as he raised his finger and pointed at Yiqing Luo, speaking in a righteous manner. I understand Pei Huan's character very well. He's not someone who speaks irresponsibly. If this matter hadn't really happened, Pei Huan would absolutely not say that. The male student named Pei Huan saw that his goddess was speaking up for him. He nodded vigorously. That's right. I saw you in the training forest an hour ago. Chapter 2237. Yan Yu and the rest of the students gritted their teeth as they lowered their heads. Fatty Master walked over. His perfectly round body shook as he walked. Yan Yu lowered her head and clenched her fists tightly as her body tensed up. Just as Fatty Master walked over. She couldn't take it anymore as she raised her head and looked at Fatty Master coldly. Fatty Master, I know what you want to say, but I have something in my heart that I must say. Fatty Master stopped in his tracks as he frowned slightly. He opened his mouth and was about to speak. Yan Yu interrupted again. The students from the devil class are here to undergo special training in the class of gods. However, the devil class doesn't even put the special training in their eyes. Not only did they give up on the special physical training, they even tried to bring the shameless vulgarity of the lower class to our class of gods, attempting to pollute our students. She stared at the fat teacher with determination and did not take his warning gaze to heart. Yan Yu really couldn't understand. Why did Fatty Master stop her and blame devil class? It was obviously devil class's fault. Why did Fatty Master still want to protect devil class? While they were arguing, 3 more students from the class of gods dragged their exhausted bodies over. Coincidentally, they heard Yan Yu's angry roar. A few of the students from the class of gods added fuel to the fire as they explained what had happened to the class of devils. Immediately, the students from class of gods started to despise devil class even more. Student Yan Yu. Teacher Yi saw that Yan Yu's words were getting more and more bitter as he called out to stop her. He had just opened his mouth when Yan Yu snatched the right to speak. Teacher Yi, I know what you want to say. I also know that from teacher's point of view, there are many things that are not convenient for you to say, but I will help you to say it. Teacher Yi. He was dumbstruck. He didn't even know what he wanted to say, so how did Yan Yu know? Yan Yu looked coldly at Yiqing Luo, who was sitting at the corner of the weapon rack and ridiculed. This morning, student Yiqing Luo had just arrived at class of God and pulled teacher Yi along, using Ghost Doctor's reputation to flatter him. Everyone in class of gods knows that teacher Yi and the Ghost Doctor have been good friends for many years. Student Yiqing Luo intentionally made use of Ghost Doctor to flatter teacher Yi. Wasn't it so that teacher Yi would take care of her? Thinking on a deeper level, student Yiqing Luo is trying to make use of the Ghost Doctor's reputation to make teacher Yi keep her in the class of gods. Yan Yu's words made the other class of gods students look at Yiqing Luo in disdain. Pointing towards Yiqing Luo's direction. His tone was filled with disdain. Teacher Yi's face darkened. They were wholeheartedly focused on guiding the students to improve their strength. But he had forgotten to teach his students how to behave. So, now Yan Yu did not care about the headmaster at all and could express his opinion on behalf of him at will. Listening to the discussions on the other side, Yi Qing Luo gave them a bored look. Soon after, a lofty expression appeared on his face, as if he was looking down on an ant. This gaze immediately caused Yan Yu and the others to feel as if there was a ball of fire burning in their hearts. Yi Qing Luo. What kind of expression is that? Don't tell me you still want to defend yourself. Yan Yu's voice was sharp as he howled in rage. Yi Qing Luo tugged her pink lips as she elegantly stood up from the ground. She walked out from the dark corner once again. But, this time, the people who walked out from the dark corner were not only Yi Qing Luo alone. And, those people from Devil class. One after another, their footsteps were steady, confident and elegant as they appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 22:38. When they saw Devil class's students appearing at the training grounds, looks of disbelief appeared on the faces of the students of the class of gods. What was going on? Weren't they in the 50 kilometers of weighted cross-country training? Why were Devil class's students all at the training grounds? And they totally didn't look like they had run 50 kilometers. Could it be those Devil class's students had all given up on the special training? Class of gods students thought of themselves. In order not to let Devil class's students see them as a joke, they had almost died of exhaustion in the actual combat training forest and had to clench their teeth to complete the entire course. But the Devil class actually used this kind of attitude to treat their special training of the class of gods. No matter how they thought about it, their hearts couldn't be balanced. Quibble. I don't think I have anything to quibble about. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips curled up as she gave a charming smile, but I think, Student Yan Yu, you'd better use your brain and think about how to quibble about it. Yan Yu felt a dull pain in her heart from her smile as she had an indescribable uneasy premonition. Yan Yu suppressed this strange feeling as she took a deep breath and retorted angrily, "What do you mean?" Regarding student Yan Yu's slander earlier, let's talk about it one by one slowly. Yi Qing Luo smiled calmly. She walked forward slowly and her footsteps were extremely stable. Her red outfit, which was like the blazing sun, accentuated her beautiful figure to the fullest. Every step she took and every move she took would set off a red afterimage, like a dream or fantasy. The young lady stood firmly in front of Yan Yu. And she was at least 5 steps away from Yan Yu. She caressed the side of her narrow sleeves, the dark golden, devil word embroidery as her tone was calm like still water. Firstly, from the beginning till the end, I had never said that Devil class had given up on the special training. Yi Qing Luo's aura was indeed so strong that it made one unable to withstand it. Yan Yu was even more unable to withstand it. She looked at Yi Qing Luo as her pupils reflected Yi Qing Luo's tranquil and beautiful face. You don't tell me you're trying to say that Devil class have all completed the special training. If they didn't give up on the special training, then the only way to appear at the training grounds was to complete the special training. But impossible. Class of gods students all shook their heads. No one was willing to believe it. Devil class, in the academy, had the nickname of Trash Class 1. Even if they won first place this year, it would just be luck. Most importantly, a 50-kilometer weight-bearing cross-country run. The students of the class of gods, who trained extremely hard every day, were already struggling. How could the Devil class complete it? Even if they wanted to save face, they had to be realistic. Class of gods students all looked towards Yi Qing Luo. But he saw Yi Qing Luo revealing a brilliant smile under all kinds of ridicule and puzzled gazes. It was as if she couldn't see the ridicule directed at her by the students of the class of gods. She smiled sweetly and said calmly, "Yes, I am." The students of the class of gods were dumbfounded. "What is it?" Wait. Earlier, Yenyu asked, "Don't tell me that devil class has completed the special training," and later on, Yiqing Luo replied, "Yes." In other words, was Yiqing Luo admitting that their devil class had completed the 50-kilogram load of cross-country? Did Yiqing Luo really not intend to keep her face? Chapter 2239. Yenyu staggered a few steps back. Her pupils widened as she shook her head in disbelief. "No. Impossible, Yiqing Luo, are you still so thick-skinned, refusing to admit that you have given up the special training? You are just a waste from the lower class, a bunch of trash, how could it be possible?" As she was speaking, she suddenly thought of something as her eyes shot towards the gloomy faces of Teacher Yi and Fat Teacher. Yenyu directly blamed Yiqing Luo for the two masters' ugly expressions. It must be Yiqing Luo's shamelessness that had infuriated them. "Teacher, you are the most impartial, the first person to complete the 50 kilometers load run is me, isn't that right? Devil classes students can't possibly complete such a super difficult physical training. As long as the teacher said so. He would definitely be able to give the devil class a hard slap on that slut Yiqing Luo's face. In the Heavenly Academy, Yiqing Luo could be arrogant for a while. But in the class of gods, anyone here could easily pinch Yiqing Luo to death. What right did she have to strut around in the class of gods? Yenyu clenched her teeth hatefully as she looked at the teachers with a hopeful gaze. The students in the class of gods also quietened down as they looked towards the teachers. Teacher Yi and Fat Teacher's faces remained gloomy. Their gloomy eyes glanced coldly at Yenyu. Teacher Yi pursed his lips tightly as his expression turned cold as he looked at the students in the class of gods and said word by word, "Devil classes students are the first batch to complete the 50 kilometers load run and return to the training ground. Moreover, you have completed the special training more than an hour earlier." Teacher Yi's words were like a lightning strike, striking into the students' hearts. The students only felt their vision turning black as their breathing quickened. What did Teacher Yi say? Devil class had completed the special training. And more than an hour earlier. The male student named Pei Huan thought back to the words he had boasted about. Yiqing Luo had said from the start that he was already at the training ground an hour earlier. It was all true. Fat Teacher looked at the dumbstruck expressions of the students in the class of gods. His expression was dark and gloomy. He was really disappointed in these young students this time. After all, they were the students that he had taught personally. Who would have thought that he would be so ignorant of how to conduct himself? If this matter were to spread out, the high and mighty image of the class of gods would be completely destroyed. Today's special training, the few of us monitored the entire process. From the start to the end, the devil class's students did not cheat at all. They had truly completed the 50 kilometers weighted cross-country run. As the fatty master's words fell, the students of the class of gods fell to the ground, unable to accept what had just happened. They felt as if their pride had been ruthlessly crushed. They had followed the headmaster for so many years. Naturally, he was clear that these two teachers would never speak up for the devil class. This was indeed the truth. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a faint smile. That smile was bright and beautiful. However, for no reason at all, it caused a chill to run down one's spine, and one's body and mind immediately stiffened. Following this, let's talk about the matter regarding this student Pei, slandering me. Yiqing Luo looked at Pei Huan smilingly, but there wasn't a hint of a smile in her eyes. Pei Huan's legs immediately turned to jelly as he stammered, I didn't. Chapter 2240. Class of God students' expressions congealed as they looked towards the masters. The masters nodded slightly and turned their heads away, not looking at them. As though they felt ashamed. Class of God students drew in a breath of cold air. The three masters had already testified, Obviously, what Pei Huan said was all lies. Class of God students, although they didn't like and despised the devil class. But in order to boast about his ability in front of Yan Yu, he actually slandered a young lady's reputation. If this matter was spread out without the master's testimonies, how was Yiqing Luo going to conduct herself in the future? This kind of behavior was shameful to them. After all, to them, devil class was just a lower class, a waste who came for special training. Waste's various hoots, they would at most give them a slap on the face and not take it to heart. But Pei Huan's behavior was indeed a disgrace to the class of God. While everyone was using condemning gazes to stare fiercely at Pei Huan, Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as she smiled calmly. Of course, if what student Pei said is true, then I have the right to suspect that someone is trying to ruin my reputation, disguising as me and sending out an invitation to you. As she said that, her long and narrow eyes squinted slightly. It was indescribably enchanting. It made one's heart palpitate. Class of God students could hear the chill in Yiqing Luo's words. They could also tell that there was a hidden murderous intent in that pair of eyes. However, even though he clearly knew everything, he couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't help but sink under her charm. This feeling was too strange. Class of God students' hearts couldn't help but tighten as they palpitated wildly. The entire crowd was silent. Yiqing Luo's smile deepened. Our devil class's students have always acted as a team from the start. Half an hour ago, we were resting here and no one left. That means to say, it's your class's students who disguised as me, trying to frame me. She paused as her gaze fixed on Yan Yu, and the seniors in Class of God don't care about us foreign students. The only one who has been targeting me since I entered Class of God is only one person. Everyone subconsciously shifted their gaze onto Yan Yu. Indeed, from the start to the end, Yan Yu had always found devil classes Yiqing Luo an eyesore. It wasn't that he hated the demon class, but he only hated Yiqing Luo, this person. Moreover, when he thought about it carefully, after they had returned from their special training, before they could even rest, they were pulled to join in the action of accusing the devil class. Wasn't this all started by Yan Yu? Yan Yu's face darkened. What are you all looking at me for? I've been burying my head in completing the special training. I don't have the time to plot against a piece of trash. Chapter 22:41. You, who do you think you are? I didn't do that. Yan Yu's pretty face turned colder. You're just a waste from the lower class. What right do you have to investigate me? Yiqing Luo raised her brows and nodded thoughtfully. That's true. Why don't we go to the faculty council and look for President C? Yan Yu's pupils shrank. Yiqing Luo smiled again. President C is a student of the Class of Gods, he won't be biased. Yan Yu's slender fingers curled up tightly, as if she couldn't wait to teach Yiqing Luo a lesson. How could she let the faculty council intervene in the affairs of the Class of Gods? Once the faculty council intervened, today's matter would be spread throughout the entire Heavenly Academy. The reputation of the Class of Gods would be completely ruined. Yan Yu is so resistant to the investigation, could it be? Yiqing Luo opened her mouth and put on a surprised look. It's really, the word, you, hadn't left her mouth. With a thud, Pei Huan knelt in front of Fatty Teacher and Teacher Yi. He seemed to be unable to bear the torture and cried in a hoarse voice, Teacher, I know I'm wrong. I shouldn't have been so vain, I shouldn't have lied in front of Yan Yu and slandered Yiqing Luo. The whole place was silent again. Pei Huan was the only one who continued to cry and repeat the words he had said. After a while, the fat master glanced at Yiqing Luo with his narrow eyes. Yiqing Luo, since Pei Huan has realized his mistake, Yiqing Luo glanced at Pei Huan, who was kneeling on the ground, and smiled innocently. Pei Huan is teacher's student. I have no opinion on how to deal with him. The fat master's words were stuck in his throat. She was his student. A student made such a mistake. As a teacher, he wouldn't let it go so easily. He was afraid that other students would follow suit. Yiqing Luo had no opinion on it. However, her words had completely blocked his way of exonerating Pei Huan. Then, Pei Huan will be punished with 1 month's worth of resources. All other resources will be cancelled. Teacher Yi closed his eyes and announced Pei Huan's punishment. Pei Huan's eyes widened in horror. Teacher Yi, spare me. Teacher Yi, spare me. You can hit me or scold me, but don't cancel my resources. No. Resources were equivalent to the elixirs, secret manuals, or cultivation methods provided by the academy. Cultivating the profound rank. If he slacked off for a day or two, others would easily catch up to him. Let alone a month's worth of resources. 1 month could be the difference of a grade, or even a mystic grade. Teacher Yi waved his hand, indicating for Pei Huan to leave. Pei Huan knew that it was hopeless to plead for leniency, so he suppressed the grief in his heart and stared at Yiqing Luo furiously before leaving dejectedly. Pei Huan's departure caused the atmosphere and the surroundings to turn strange. Chapter 2242. I'm jealous of you. Yan, you seem to have heard something funny and couldn't stop laughing. You're just trash from a lower class. Why would I be jealous of you? Yiqing Luo's brows rose in ridicule as her lips curled into a cold sneer. If it's not jealousy, then how do you explain why student Yan Yu has repeatedly targeted me? How did I target you? You're just trash from a lower class. What's there for me to target? Yan Yu roared angrily. Yiqing Luo shrugged her shoulders and spread out her hands. Could it be that I sensed wrongly? Her gaze swept across the students of the class of gods. Seeing this, the students from the class of gods looked away. It was obvious that he had tacitly agreed. Class of gods students could obviously feel that Yan Yu had been targeting Yiqing Luo. Yan Yu was so angry that her face turned white. I just didn't. In my eyes, you are nothing but an ant. Yiqing Luo burst out laughing. I wonder how student Yan Yu would feel after losing to an inferior class's trash, an ant in this special training. Yiqing Luo laughed out loud. You! Yan Yu's delicate body trembled in anger. Yiqing Luo didn't wait for her to finish her sentence as she snatched a step forward and laughed lowly. Student Yan Yu is even more useless than the lower class's waste, even more insignificant than an ant. No wonder student Yan Yu couldn't accept it in her heart, so her brain turned hot and her mouth was full of sh*t. Yan Yu's beautiful face twisted uncontrollably. The fury in his heart and hatred towards Yiqing Luo continued to spread. Yiqing Luo totally didn't give Yan Yu any chance to open his mouth. Her gaze was calm as she looked at Teacher Yi. Student Yan Yu said that I used Master Ghost Doctor to achieve my goals. Not only is this an insult to me, it's also an insult to my Master Ghost Doctor. More importantly, it's an insult to the intellect of all the teachers here. Teacher Yi's eyes were deep as he sized up the calm-looking girl. His heart couldn't help but tighten. Looking at Yiqing Luo's solemn look. Could it be that she really was the Ghost Doctor's disciple? You still want to quibble? If you're the Ghost Doctor's disciple, then show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. What proof do you have, you're Ghost Doctor's disciple? Yan Yu pointed at Yiqing Luo hysterically. How could she be so calm? What right did she have to act as if victory was already in her grasp? Without any evidence, she would forever be a scheming B*tch who made use of the Ghost Doctor's reputation. Me. Suddenly, a deep and icy cold voice resounded. That voice wasn't loud, but it contained a terrifying aura. Everyone was taken aback and looked in the direction of the voice. An old man dressed in apothecary robes slowly walked over. The old man was upright and meticulous from head to toe. He exuded an incomparably noble demeanor, the demeanor of an expert. following his steps. Everyone could clearly smell the faintly discernible scent of herbs coming from the old man's body. It was refreshing, but not too strong. It didn't smell bitter. Instead, it made one feel refreshed and tired. This is the ghost doctor. Class of God students stared blankly at the approaching old man as the two words, ghost doctor, appeared in their minds. These students from Class of God, in order to show that they were different from the other classes in the Heavenly Academy, had always been cooped up in Class of God, unwilling to interact with those trash. Occasionally, for the sake of the Academy's limelight, they would make an appearance. Chapter 22:43. As of now, the students in Class of Gods probably didn't even remember the director's looks clearly. This was also the reason why Yi Qing Luo was famous in Heavenly Academy, and even in the Western continent, but the students in Class of Gods didn't recognize Devil Class, and the reason why they didn't recognize Yi Qing Luo. When Ghost Doctor appeared in Class of Gods, the students finally understood what was going on. What was called aura. There was a type of person who just stood there. Then you would know who he was. Ghost Doctor was this kind of person. But when the students in Class of Gods regained their senses from the shock, the expressions on their faces changed drastically. With a look of disbelief, they stared at Yi Qing Luo. Earlier Ghost Doctor seemed to have said one word. What he meant was, he was the evidence. He was the evidence of Yi Qing Luo's master. That's right. Ghost Doctor himself had appeared personally. Wasn't he the best evidence? Could it be that Yi Qing Luo was really Ghost Doctor's disciple? Otherwise, why would Ghost Doctor personally come to Class of Gods to clear Yi Qing Luo's name? No. Yan Yu's pupils kept dilating as she stared at Ghost Doctor's approaching figure, trembling like a sieve. Just as Ghost Doctor walked nearer, Yan Yu suddenly pointed at Yi Qing Luo, her face filled with hatred as she howled, "Sir Ghost Doctor! You heard that someone used your disciple's name to swindle people, so you specially came over to catch her. It's her, it's this slut. She had been making use of your reputation, to cheat Master, and even us." Right. That's right, Ghost Doctor must be here to catch the swindler. Yi Qing Luo, that trash, how could she possibly be Ghost Doctor's disciple? Who was Ghost Doctor? She had heard Master Yi ridiculing Ghost Doctor more than once. For someone like Ghost Doctor who was afraid of trouble, how could he possibly take in a disciple? When the students in Class of Gods heard that, their gazes immediately fell onto Yi Qing Luo. The expressions on their faces also had some changes. Hearing Yan Yu's words, they immediately felt that Ghost Doctor was here to catch the swindler who used his reputation to swindle people. But that bunch of trash in Devil Class, what was with their pitiful gazes? "Sir Ghost Doctor, catch her and interrogate her properly. She had been using your name to bully others in Class of Gods. Now that Sir Ghost Doctor is here personally, let's see if she still has any face left to continue acting." When Yan Yu saw that the Ghost Doctor didn't speak for a long time, she became more and more anxious. His words became sharper and sharper. Teacher Yi glared at her, signaling her to shut up. Then, he welcomed the Ghost Doctor. "Old Ghost Doctor, why are you in the mood to come to the Class of Gods?" The Ghost Doctor avoided Teacher Yi's touch and coldly swept her gaze over Yan Yu and the students present. But he did not look in the direction of the Devil Class. Teacher Yi felt a headache coming on. He coughed dryly and said, "It's just a joke between the students. It's just a small matter, don't take it to heart." Small matter. The Ghost Doctor finally spoke, her voice deep and cold. Teacher Yi was well aware that this was the precursor to the Ghost Doctor's wrath. He furrowed his brows, feeling a headache coming on. "I'll deal with this. You should know that the students of the Class of Gods aren't friendly to students from other classes. As for that student, I'm sure he just wanted to establish himself in the class of gods, so he used the wrong method. The ghost doctor scoffed coldly. Teacher E only felt that the surrounding air had turned colder by several degrees. When Fatty Teacher saw that, he hurriedly put on a smile and walked over. Ghost doctor, what old E said is right. They're all kids, don't be too calculative. It's rare for you to come over and we haven't gathered for a long time. Why don't we go to the backyard for a drink? Chapter 22:44. The whole place was silent. Teacher Yi's hand, which was reaching for the ghost doctor, froze in midair. The fat teacher's smiling face stiffened. The surrounding students sucked in a breath of cold air, incomparably shocked. What did the ghost doctor say? His disciple. Disciple. Yi Ching Luo was really ghost doctor's disciple. Just when everyone was filled with doubts, Devil Class's 10 students all surrounded Ghost Doctor, as they greeted him with a beaming face. Sir Ghost Doctor, you're finally here. If you didn't come, our Ching Luo would be bullied to death. Yan Xiaoyi intentionally leaned closer to Ghost Doctor's side, as she gave Yan Yu a meaningful look. That's right, Sir Ghost Doctor, some students in the class of gods kept on insulting our Ching Luo, saying that she is a little slut who uses your reputation to cheat others. They feel that our devil class doesn't have any backing and we can't win against them. A few devil class students nodded their heads in agreement. Each of them was more aggrieved than the other. The flames around the ghost doctor's body grew increasingly cold. The students of the class of gods shuddered involuntarily. Normally, no matter how high and mighty they were, no matter how proud they were. However, when facing powerful seniors like the headmaster, he would still listen to them obediently. Now that the ghost doctor was angry, the students of the class of gods knew that they were in the wrong and lowered their heads, not daring to make a sound. Teacher E was stunned as well. He watched helplessly as Ghost Doctor turned around, walking towards Yi Ching Luo's direction. The devil class students all opened up a path. In a direction that the ghost doctor couldn't see, they looked towards Yan Yu. The grievance on their faces was replaced by pity and sympathy. Anger invaded Yan Yu's limbs and bones. Her face was malevolent as she stared venomously at Yi Ching Luo. Unable to believe that Ghost Doctor was really real, he walked towards Yi Ching Luo. This group of trash. What right did he have to look at her like that? Why should he pity her, sympathize with her? She was a student of the high and mighty class of gods. He was a talented, profound practitioner who could ascend to the upper realm in the future. What right did this bunch of trash have to look down on her? But, Yan Yu saw with his own eyes. Ghost Doctor walked to Yi Ching Luo's side. Raising his hand, which had always been used to refining pills, he rubbed Yi Ching Luo's head. Little Luo, I'm not here and you start to cause trouble. The ghost doctor's voice was still very cold, but anyone could tell that this kind of coldness, compared to the coldness she had shown to the others earlier, was like a completely different person. Yi Ching Luo rubbed against Ghost Doctor's palm as she revealed a sweet smile. I'm an obedient and well-behaved student who has never created any trouble. The Ghost Doctor rolled her eyes at her. How do you want to deal with this matter? Yi Ching Luo raised her brows and looked at Teacher E. The three masters were stunned by the scene in front of them. The students of the devil class had completed the 50 kilograms weight run an hour earlier. They were already very shocked and astonished. Today, the news of Yi Ching Luo being Ghost Doctor's disciple had been personally verified by Ghost Doctor himself. Furthermore, the Ghost Doctor, who had always been afraid of trouble, had personally come to the class of gods to support his disciple. It could be seen that the Ghost Doctor truly doted on her little disciple. This lady called Yi Ching Luo. Just where did she come from? Now, Ghost Doctor actually wanted to ask Yi Ching Luo how to deal with these people who had wrongly accused her and slandered her. Directly bypassing these few masters. It could be seen that Ghost Doctor was really infuriated. Chapter 22:45. Yiqing Luo's words also successfully stopped the masters from pleading on behalf of their students. Ghost Doctor had personally come to support his disciple. If they didn't punish this student who had been targeting Ghost Doctor's disciple, that would be not giving Ghost Doctor any face. Although they were all experts who came down from the upper realm. But in front of Ghost Doctor, they were nothing. The three masters' expressions stiffened as they hurriedly stepped forward. The three of us will handle this matter properly and will not be biased. Ghost Doctor's face was gloomy as he gave a cold snort. The three masters lowered their heads as they stared at Yanyu hatefully. Yanyu felt as though something had exploded in her brain. It was as if something had collapsed. Her vision turned black as she fell limply onto the ground. The students who had always been on good terms with Yanyu didn't dare to step forward to help her, afraid that Yiqing Luo's anger would be directed to them. Yi Luo bit her lower lip as she looked at Yanyu, wanting to step forward but not daring to. Yiqing Luo sneered as she took in the entire scene. She scoffed lightly as her eyes were filled with disdain and despise towards Yanyu. No matter if it was the Heavenly Academy or this self-proclaimed high and mighty class of gods, it was inevitable for them to be the same as ordinary people. This was human nature. No matter how they were on good terms and treated each other honestly, once it involved their own interests, they would fall out faster than flipping a book. Hurry and carry her down. Teacher Yi glanced at the group of students who were trembling in fear. This group of students only knew how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Usually their eyes grew on top of their heads. In front of Ghost Doctor, all of them were frightened to such an extent. The masters expressed that it was shameful to have taught such a student. Those students actually turned their gazes towards Ghost Doctor. Although they were taught not to understand the ways of the world. But he saw that the three masters were all extremely respectful towards the Ghost Doctor. They knew clearly that this Ghost Doctor was the real boss. Ghost Doctor didn't say anything, so they didn't dare to carry Yanyu. This action caused the faces of the three teachers to darken. Not waiting for Ghost Doctor to open his mouth, Yiqing Luo had already laughed out, "Fatty teacher, Teacher Yi, Teacher Shin, although teaching students to raise their abilities and becoming strong is the most crucial thing. But how should I put it? This is the principle of being a human, it's time to teach him." The faces of the masters darkened even more. But due to the Ghost Doctor's presence, he didn't dare to flare up. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes swept across their expressions and couldn't help but let out a light laugh. This is the class of God, the three masters are the real masters of the class of God. My master is just a guest. As the students of the class of God, you're trying to take advantage of my master's mood. Where are the faces of the three masters? Even though she was smiling, it was a smile. However, his voice was powerful and resonant, causing people to be shocked. She let go of the Ghost Doctor's arm, her gaze calm and indifferent as it swept over the students of the class of gods. Perhaps it was because the Ghost Doctor was present. Or perhaps it was because Yiqing Luo's aura was too majestic. The students of the class of gods instinctively lowered their heads. Yanyu was so infuriated that she was trembling. "I'm not teaching you anything, I just want you to know clearly who your masters are, who have always been teaching you, who gave you the right to be so arrogant and supercilious." Yiqing Luo's voice was calm without any undulations. Chapter 2246. When she said this, her voice paused for a moment. Fatty Master immediately continued, "Today's matter is due to our lack of teaching. In the coming month, I guarantee that today's matter will not happen again." As for the three masters, Yiqing Luo did not have any complaints. After all, Devil class was an outsider class. Class of gods was specially selected by them and nurtured till today. Their feelings were naturally different. It was natural for them to help the class of gods. Previously she used Ghost Doctor's name to get close to Master Yi. It was because she wanted to have a good training and not let any other messy things happen that would affect her mood and the special training. For example, what had happened now. But she didn't expect that when she mentioned Ghost Doctor, it would implicate even more things. Today, if it wasn't for Ghost Doctor's personal appearance, she would probably be annoyed to death. What's more, she might have to use Ghost Doctor's name to cheat behind the back of that scheming bitch. In order to ensure that the next month's special training would be peaceful, they would leave after it ended. Yi-Ching Luo expressed that all the germination must be nipped off today. Master Yi placed his hand on Ghost Doctor's shoulder. Old man Ghost Doctor, let's go and let this group of students think it through themselves. Let's go have a drink. Ghost Doctor slapped his hand away without giving him any face. His malicious eyes swept coldly across Master Yi. Old Yi, from what you said earlier, it seems like you had already assumed that my disciple was lying to you. Master Yi felt a chill down his spine as beads of sweat started to form on his forehead. Ghost Doctor, this is not right of you. After all, this is the class of gods. If a student comes and says that she is your disciple and I believe it, wouldn't the class of gods be in a mess? Ghost Doctor's lips twitched eerily. My disciple's temperament, this innate talent, she completely said that she is my disciple. How is that not like my disciple? You can't even tell and you have the cheek to say that you are my close friend for many years. Master Yi expressed that he was deliberately making things difficult for her. Although Yi-Ching Luo's aura and innate talent were indeed eye-catching. But it didn't mean that he could tell that she was Ghost Doctor's disciple. Master Yi knew that Ghost Doctor's words were to help his disciple vent her anger. He had indeed misunderstood that Yi-Ching Luo was the kind of young lady who used Ghost Doctor's reputation to cheat others. This was the truth and there was no way to explain it. He had yet to think of an excuse. A rough and loud male voice rang out, yes. How can you still have the face to say that you are close friends with that damn old man? He even said that our little girl used extreme methods to gain a foothold in the class of gods. How dare you make such a guess? This voice caused everyone to tremble. The group of people looked in the direction of the sound. Then, he saw an old man dressed in a white robe rushing over like the wind. The old man was different from the Ghost Doctor's meticulousness. He had dry hair that seemed to be combed neatly but was actually a mess. His white robe hung loosely on his body, and his expression was ferocious like a crazy old man. He rushed to Yi-Ching Luo's side and stretched out his hand to hug her. Yi-Ching Luo almost couldn't breathe. Teacher Shen-Qing looked at the person in shock and stammered, Sir Guiyu, my lord. The student sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of person could make Teacher Shen-Qing, who had always been lazy and did not care about anything, to be so respectful and even be called Lord? When they heard the two words, Guiyu, the other two teachers' expressions changed immediately. Sir Guiyu. Chapter 2247. Master Guiyu, you. Why are you here? Master Yi swallowed his saliva as he looked at Guiyu and Yi-Ching Luo in disbelief. They had heard of it before. Guiyu was eyeing Ghost Doctor's disciple. Today they saw this scene. They deeply understood that those words were not fake. Guiyu valued Yi-Ching Luo very much. What magic did this young lady called Yi-Ching Luo have? She actually made Ghost Doctor and Guiyu, these two old men who would never fancy anyone and wanted to take anyone as their disciple, to protect her so passionately. Of course, the three masters didn't deny it. Yi-Ching Luo's current performance was indeed outstanding. Even more outstanding than the students in the class of gods that they had painstakingly taught. But at this level, Ghost Doctor and Guiyu shouldn't be so protective of her, right? Moreover, the Ghost Doctor and the Ghost Doctor, these two seniors, were present. It was natural for Yi-Ching Luo to be so outstanding. Guiyu snorted as he glanced at the three masters with a cold smile. He could tell what they were thinking at one glance. He smiled coldly as his shriveled lips twitched. I heard that my last Luo suffered a grievance when she came to the class of gods for special training. If I didn't come, wouldn't my last Luo die of grievance? Master Yi and Fat Master broke out in cold sweat. The students in the class of gods also straightened their backs. Yi Qing Luo wanted to raise her hand several times, weakly expressing that even if they didn't come, she wouldn't let herself suffer. But seeing old man Gue use protective look, Yi Qing Luo smiled warmly. Right now, she was no longer alone. She had someone who would protect her. She wasn't fighting alone. I heard that this student feels that last Luo is using my reputation to stay in the class of gods. Ghost Doctor's malicious gaze swept towards Yan Yu. Yan Yu, who was sprawled on the ground, felt as though she had been targeted by a venomous snake. She shivered and didn't dare to say a word. Seeing this, Mr. Yi hurriedly explained, "Please don't be angry, sirs. This is a misunderstanding. As you know, the students of the other classes have always yearned for the class of gods. They've been thinking of ways to squeeze into it. Our last Luo is in the devil class, not any other class. Old man Gue, you did not have much patience. If Luo wanted to enter the class of gods, she would have been qualified to do so not long after she entered the academy." The students of the class of gods were shocked. He had just been admitted to the hospital and he already had the qualifications. How was this possible? Even if old man Yu wanted to stand up for Yi Qing Luo, there was no need to use such a method, right? He had boasted too much. It was obvious that he was bragging. One had to know that students like them had all been selected through layers of selection. Their aptitudes and talents were outstanding, and they were above average people in every aspect. It had taken them almost 2 years to successfully enter the class of gods. The ghost doctor's cold gaze swept over them. Her voice was cold, but powerful. "Whether or not the last really has the qualifications to enter the class of gods, I'm sure the 3 elders can go to the elders department, or you can ask the faculty council's presidency. You'll know." Last Luo refused to enter the class of gods because of her brothers and the group of children in the class of devils. But I feel that Luo Yu was right to reject me back then. If Luo Yu was allowed to grow up in this kind of atmosphere, how could our last Luo have such a metamorphosis now? Old man Gue, you had never thought of giving others face when he spoke. Master Yi was too ashamed to show his face, but there was nothing he could refute. They all knew. Chapter 2248. If he wanted to end this situation, he could only start from Yi Qing Luo. Teacher Yi turned his gaze to Yi Qing Luo and chuckled. "Student Yi Qing Luo, I am also responsible for the misunderstanding. The students from the class of gods were rude to the devil class, and I can't get away from it. All these are my fault. I assure you that there will not be a next time." His attitude was very sincere and sincere. It wasn't that he was trying to protect the students and push all the blame onto himself. He had indeed realized that as a teacher, he had not taught his students well, and under the circumstances where there was no evidence, he had accused the foreign students of cheating. Yi Qing Luo actually admired Teacher Yi's way of doing things. Even if Teacher Yi wanted to protect the students from the class of gods, it was reasonable. The students from the class of gods to Teacher Yi was equivalent to her to Ghost Doctor and Gue Yu. It was human nature to protect one's shortcomings. Of course, Yi Qing Luo understood that it was human nature. But it didn't mean that she would let this matter rest just because of Teacher Yi's plea. She had said that in order to have a good and quiet training in the class of gods for the next 1 month, she had to nip off all the sprouts that had yet to grow. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Today she would be more arrogant and troublesome. It would be much easier in the future. Teacher Yi, from your point of view, it's normal for you to suspect my identity and motive. Yi Qing Luo smiled sweetly. Her eyes were sparkling and filled with tranquil ripples. Under the calm gaze of that pair of eyes, Teacher Yi felt cold sweat trickling down his back for no reason. Yiqing Luo continued to smile, but how can you be 100% sure that they will not target the devil class? Saying that, Yiqing Luo pointed towards the direction of the students from the class of gods. Because of the arrival of Guo Yu and Ghost Doctor, the students who had originally wanted to give up in the training forest rushed over with the help of their classmates. Yiqing Luo's finger pointed at the entire class of gods, 16 students. Teacher Yi was stunned. The other two teachers were also slightly stunned and immediately looked away, unable to be sure. The students from the class of gods were taught by them. The teachers naturally understood their temperaments. If it was really because of Guo Yu and the Ghost Doctor that these students would not go against the devil class, this was absolutely impossible. Where I can see it, they can make sure. But they couldn't guarantee that these students wouldn't secretly take revenge on the devil class. They understood the arrogance of the class of gods. Yiqing Luo's eyes curved into a smile. Teacher, I don't have any intention to make things difficult for you. Chapter 2249. Immediately, a student echoed, That's right, Student Yiqing Luo, we are very clear on how important the special training is to us. We admit that although we aren't particularly passionate about the devil class, we don't have any intention to purposely target you. There were also a few students from the class of God who wanted to say, before the Ghost Doctor and Guo Yu appeared. They didn't put the devil class in their eyes at all and were totally disdainful, so they purposely played with the devil class. After that, he followed Yan Yu's words and condemned the devil class. They were merely misled by someone with ulterior motives. Yiqing Luo didn't make things difficult for those students. She had no interest in taking advantage of her position to bully others. She only wanted to bully the weak. Yiqing Luo went along with those students' evasive words as she gave a long "oh" and intentionally dragged out the ending sound. That "oh" shocked everyone and gave them goosebumps. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she gave an indifferent smile, as what all the students have said, then. I'm even more curious, why is student Yan Yu so dissatisfied with me? Everyone turned to look at Yan Yu in unison. Yan Yu only felt that everyone's gaze was like a burning fire, burning her whole body. She stared furiously at Yiqing Luo. It was all because of Yiqing Luo. It's all because of this slut. He had caused her to experience such a predicament. In the class of gods, she might not be the most outstanding student. Nevertheless, he was Teacher Yi's favorite student. Moreover, her beauty made her even more popular among the people. How could she become so embarrassing? It was all Yiqing Luo's fault. The more he thought, the more Yan Yu's hatred towards Yiqing Luo grew. This was hatred. Even the onlookers who were standing at the side could see it clearly. The Ghost Doctor and Old Man Yu snorted coldly. If it wasn't for Yiqing Luo holding them back, the both of them would have rushed up and slapped that scum who dared to glare at their Luo lass to death. Teacher Yi's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. Yan Yu's talent was great, and she was also smart. He had always thought highly of this student. Who would have thought that he would become so stupid today? In front of Ghost Doctor and Guo Yu, he still dared to show such an expression towards Yiqing Luo. Yan Yu. Teacher Yi gritted his teeth and shouted out Yan Yu's name. Answer me properly. Previously, did you know student Yiqing Luo? That roar caused Yan Yu to suddenly return to his senses. She pursed her pale lips and shook her head. I don't know him. Then why have you repeatedly targeted Yiqing Luo? Teacher Yi's brows knitted tightly. Yan Yu clenched her fists, but loosened them weakly. I didn't target. Bullshit. Old man Guo Yu spat. Just from the way you look at our Luo girl, I want to slap you to death. Do you think I'm blind? Not targeted yet. If you don't tell me the truth, I'll kill you right now. Yan Yu was so scared that he started trembling. Her eyes reddened and tears welled up in her eyes. However, her pitiful appearance did not arouse anyone's sympathy or pity. Yan Yu, just get straight to the point, what kind of grudge do you and student Yi Qing Luo have? Don't hold up all the students because of your own matters. Exactly. We've run for 50 kilometers and now we just want to rest, all right. Just because of your jealousy, you have to drag the entire class to stand here with you. We're not blind, we can all tell that you and student Yi Qing Luo have a huge grudge. I'm also curious, is it really because you're jealous that student Yi Qing Luo is prettier than you, so you've been targeting her? Chapter 2250. Class of God students couldn't help but try to persuade her. They had been running for an entire afternoon and were tired, thirsty and hungry. They couldn't wait to return to their own rooms to rest. But because of Yan Yu's problem, they were stuck at the training ground. The grumbles and complaints in their hearts were dragged on. Anyone with a discerning eye could see it. Yi Qing Luo didn't even bother about being slandered. She only wanted to know the truth. She wanted to know why Yan Yu was targeting her. Yan Yu still didn't say anything, pretending to be pitiful. The more they looked, the more anxious they got. Yan Yu bit her lower lip hard. Blood seeped out from her pale lips. She didn't seem to notice it. Why did all the students come to condemn her? It was obviously Yi Qing Luo's fault. It was obviously Yi Qing Luo who was creating trouble out of nothing. Why were they still blaming her? Was it because that slut had great abilities and had two big backers? She was not convinced. Student Yan Yu is unwilling to answer, why not let me guess? Yi Qing Luo's slender brows rose slightly as she slowly walked towards Yan Yu. Yi Qing Luo's steps were elegant and imposing. Yan Yu was so shocked that her body trembled even more violently. Yi Qing Luo stared at her trembling petite body as she tilted her head and smiled. Student Yan Yu, are you feeling guilty? I haven't done anything and you're so afraid. Yan Yu bit her lips and didn't refute. May I ask the students in Class of God, how is student Yan Yu and that student Zi Qianqian's relationship? Yi Qing Luo didn't beat around the bush and directly asked a question. When the three words, Zi Qianqian, came out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth, Yan Yu's eyes flickered a few times. The expression on her face was slightly shocked. The other students couldn't wait to end this so naturally they didn't hide anything. Yan Yu is Zi Qianqian's cousin and the two sisters have a very good relationship. They usually love to stick together and Yan Yu loves Zi Qianqian very much. Student Zi Qianqian loves to go to the lower class, I heard. She's also known as the #1 beauty in Heavenly Academy, Fairy Qianqian. Right, I remember she even joined a mercenary group. I heard this time, it seems to be Yan Yu's idea for Zi Qianqian to take part in the Heavenly Academy's annual interclass competition. The students were all talking at once. At this point, they seemed to have realized something, and their jaws dropped in shock. Right, the interclass competition. Could it be that Yi Qing Luo had ruthlessly abused Zi Qianqian in the interclass competition? Zi Qianqian had yet to return to the class of gods. So, Yan Yu was helping Zi Qianqian vent her anger. Yi Qing Luo heard the answer she wanted to know from those noisy and messy voices, as she nodded her head in understanding. Student Yan Yu is really a good sister. Yan Yu's face turned pale. She curled her fingers and lowered her head. Her messy hair covered her face. It also covered up the hatred on her face. If it's because of Zi Qianqian, I think I should explain. Yi Qing Luo looked at Yan Yu smilingly, but student Yan Yu's love for your own sister is so deep, I don't know if you can take it, what I'm going to say next. Yan Yu suddenly raised his head. Chapter 2251. She died because of me. Yi Qing Luo was amused as she repeated this sentence. How Zi Qianqian died, the entire Heavenly Academy's students know it clearly. Your master must have received the news too. Yan Yu looked at her casual smile and the anger in his eyes burned even more. Yes. Qian wasn't killed by you, but you caused her death. If it wasn't for you, Qian wouldn't have died. Yan Yu's hoarse voice made Yi Qing Luo laugh. She finally understood why Yan Yu hated her. So it was to stand up for his cousin sister. And the other students in the class of God had a change of expression when they heard these words. Zi Qian is dead. Isn't she doing well in the school? How could she be dead? Yan Yu was killed by Yi Qing Luo. What's going on? The surroundings were bustling with discussion about Zi Qian's death. Hearing the news of Zi Qian's death from the crowd, Yan Yu's facial features turned more and more sinister. Silence. Seeing this, Teacher Yi immediately roared coldly, "What are you guys making a ruckus for?" The students quietened down. Teacher Yi took a look at Yan Yu and sighed. "Yan Yu, I already know about Qian's death." Yan Yu's scarlet eyes stared at Teacher Yi. "You also want to say that this is Qian's fault?" This was the first time Teacher Yi saw Yan Yu disregarding his image. He frowned slightly and turned his gaze to Yi Qing Luo. They indeed knew about Zi Qian's death. But they had not expected that the female hero who exposed Zi Qian's collaboration with the dark forces and saved the students of the various academies was actually this 15-year-old young lady. Zi Qian and Yan Yu's relationship was very close. As teachers, they could see it clearly. He expressed his understanding for Yan Yu to lose control. But, Teacher Yi sighed again. Although Qian's death is related to Yi Qing Luo, but it is true that she deserved to die and no one can be blamed for it. He paused and his face turned solemn. "If it was me, I would make the same decision as Yi Qing Luo." "That's a student you taught yourself." Yan Yu roared. "It's precisely because she's my student that I can't let her go down the wrong path. Since you're wrong, you should be punished." Teacher Yi knitted his brows tightly. Looking at Yan Yu's obviously insane appearance, he sternly stopped her from roaring and retorting. "Yan Yu, you're a smart student and you should be able to differentiate between right and wrong. If you insist on blaming Zi Qian's mistake and implicate Yi Qing Luo, then I can only send you to High Profound Class 2. Yan Yu's face was pale as he knelt on the ground in a daze. Send him to High Profound Class 2. The meaning was, kick her out of the class of gods. She wasn't wrong, she just wanted to seek justice for her sister. Qian was killed by Yi Qing Luo. Why was she the one to be punished in the end? For Yi Qing Luo, Teacher Yi actually wanted to chase her out of the class of gods. That bitch. Yan Yu. Seeing the growing hatred in Yan Yu's eyes, Teacher Yi was exasperated. Did she really want to go to High Profound Class 2? Even now, he still couldn't figure out the problem. Chapter 2252. Teacher Yi's body stiffened slightly. This. Lord Guiyu, it's not that Yan Yu didn't realize her mistake, but she cared too much about Zi Qian. I have eyes. I'm not a fool either. Old man Guiyu sneered. Oldie, don't say that I didn't give you face. It's your student who didn't care about face. I know. Teacher Yi was also very anxious, but Yan Yu's heart was clouded by hatred at this time. The ghost doctor, who had been silent and emitting an icy aura, glanced at Yan Yu with a sinister gaze, before shifting his gaze away. He moved his lips, his voice cold and dignified. Zi Qian. This student called Yan Yu is targeting little Luo because of Zi Qian, that traitor of the Nirvana realm. Perhaps the ghost doctor's voice was too cold. Perhaps Zi Qian's name had stimulated Yan Yu. Yan Yu's crazed and ferocious face suddenly froze for a moment. She widened her eyes and looked at the ghost doctor. You're spouting nonsense, Yan Yu. Teacher Yi threw a slap across the air. Yan Yu felt a burning pain on her cheeks. Her entire body was thrown back a few steps by the impact of the Xian Qi. Her cheeks were swollen and blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. From this, it could be seen how much strength was used in that slap. Yan Yu's hands trembled as she touched her cheeks. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as she fixed her gaze on Teacher Yi. Teacher Yi clenched the hand he used to slap her, gritting his teeth in warning. However, Yan Yu could not see the guilt and pain in Teacher Yi's eyes. In her eyes, Yan Yu only felt that Teacher Yi had slapped himself because of Yiqing Luo. Everything was that slut Yiqing Luo's fault. Yiqing Luo, that vixen, had seduced Teacher Yi, who had always doted on her. Teacher Yi was stunned by Yan Yu's hateful gaze. He slapped her. It was to stop her from being rude to the ghost doctor. If he allowed her to insult the ghost doctor, what awaited her wasn't just a simple slap on the face. However, Yan Yu didn't understand. Teacher Yi's heart sank. He thought that his student, who he thought to be exceptionally intelligent, was actually so stupid. It was really their teacher's failure. As a result, the students didn't even understand the simple principles of being human. What did the ghost doctor just say? Nirvana Realms Trader. Zi Qianqian. What's going on? Zi Qianqian is a trader of the Nirvana realm. I think I've heard something incredible. What's going on? Why did Yan Yu say that Zi Qianqian was killed by Yiqing Luo? But the ghost doctor said that Zi Qianqian is a trader of the Nirvana realm. The attention of the students of the class of gods was drawn to the ghost doctor's words. As for Zi Qianqian, the students of the class of gods didn't have any special feelings for her. The only feeling he had was that he had approached Zi Qianqian in order to build a relationship with Yan Yu. Because Zi Qianqian was not considered a top student in the class of gods. In every test of the class of gods, he was always ranked at the bottom. Moreover, Zi Qianqian liked to run around the lower classes. Now that they heard the news of Zi Qianqian's death, they didn't have any special feelings. The only feeling they had was shock. The ghost doctor's voice was cold. Yes, Zi Qianqian colluded with the dark forces and attempted to kill all the elite students of the various academies in the Nirvana realm. Dark forces. Chapter 2253. Although they weren't very interested in anything outside of the class of gods. However, he more or less knew about the news that the Western continent had almost been destroyed some time ago. The West continent had been annexed by the Dark Forces and the Three Springs sect in an attempt to invade the West continent. Zi Qianqian actually colluded with the Dark Forces. Could it be that Zi Qianqian also wanted to invade the Western continent? Although they were going to ascend to the upper realm in the future. However, they were the only ones who ascended to the immortal realm. Nirvana realm. West continent was still their home. Their loved ones were here. You. Yan Yu looked at the ghost doctor in horror. As though he had not expected that the ghost doctor, who had always hated trouble, would actually speak up for Yiqing Luo, clarifying that she had not caused Zi Qianqian's death. Yan Yu knew that the students of the class of gods didn't know much about the outside world. So he was thinking that while Yiqing Luo was still in the class of gods, he would slowly make everyone think that it was Yiqing Luo who was jealous of Zi Qianqian and caused his death. This way, she would be able to avenge Zi Qianqian openly. He did not expect that the ghost doctor would reveal the cause of Zi Qianqian's death. Who was the ghost doctor? Even the headmaster, whom they respected him so much. His words were extremely authoritative. Who wouldn't believe it? Because of Zi Qianqian, she killed a total of 52 students from the Wind Vein Academy. The ghost doctor enunciated each and every word extremely clearly. Because of Zi Qianqian, all the students of the academy almost died in the blaze nest. After that, the Luo girl captured Zi Qianqian and handed him over to the headquarters for punishment. The faces of the students of the class of gods paled. The ghost doctor's cold gaze swept towards Yanyu. Student Yanyu, do you think that last Luo was wrong to hand over Zi Qianqian, that traitor, that murderer, to the general hospital? Yanyu's body trembled. The students of the class of gods were speechless. If it was them, they would also hand Zi Qianqian over to the headquarters. It wasn't like they hadn't killed anyone before. But 52 lives were taken, and they were the lives of students from other academies. Zi Qianqian was actually so ruthless. It was only natural for the General Institute to execute Zi Qianqian. This indeed couldn't be blamed on Yiqing Luo. You are. Yanyu still wanted to struggle. The ghost doctor had already interrupted Yanyu's words with a cold sneer. If you don't believe me, you can go back to your clan and ask your relatives. I'm sure they'll tell you in more detail. Yanyu's body slumped to the ground. Zi Qianqian clearly deserved to die. As students of the class of gods, how dare you collude with other factions to kill students from other schools? Isn't this just bringing shame to our class? Yanyu, what face do you have to blame Zi Qianqian's death on Yiqing Luo? 52 lives. He even wanted to kill all the university students from all the schools. Even if she dies, she won't be able to repay those 52 lives. The students of the class of gods began to berate Yanyu. Even Yi Luo did not have the face to speak for Yanyu. It could be said that ever since the ghost doctor and Guiyu appeared, Yanyu no longer had the slightest advantage. On the training ground, the momentum was already one-sided. Teacher Yi bore with the pain as he shut his eyes. Yanyu has disobeyed his superiors and has slandered the new devil class several times. Deduct 2 months of resources and lock him up in the confinement room for a month, then send him to high profound class 2. The students of the class of gods were all stunned. The berating voices stopped abruptly. Chapter 2254. This punishment. Wasn't it a little too harsh? One must know that the students who were chased out of class of gods, no matter how outstanding their innate talents were, once they went to the lower class, they would be ridiculed by all the students. But on second thoughts, Yanyu couldn't figure out the situation. For Zi Qianqian, he found trouble with Yiqing Luo. If this matter was spread out, it would only make people link Zi Qianqian and the class of gods together. By then, the divine image which the class of gods had painstakingly built up would be destroyed in one day. They must not let Yanyu affect the reputation of their class of gods. Immediately, those shocked students restrained their expressions and no one spoke up to plead for Yanyu. Yi Luo's expression froze in the crowd. If Yanyu left class of gods, what would happen to her? She had always been Yanyu's follower. She had suffered so much injustice. How could she just watch as Yanyu left? Teacher Yi, Yen. Yi Luo bit her lower lip, trying to plead for Yanyu. But she heard old man Guiyu's rough voice from the side, just let her go to high profound class 2. What kind of punishment is this? Old Yi, do you really think I'm easy to fool just because I haven't been in charge for so many years? Teacher Yi hurriedly explained, Master Guiyu, I'm not. You're not. Yanyu kept saying that she wanted to seek revenge for that traitor Zi Qianqian. I have the right to suspect that Yanyu had long known that Zi Qianqian was colluding with the dark forces. Otherwise, why did she feel that Zi Qianqian colluded with the dark forces? Was a very normal thing. Old man Guiyu rudely interrupted Teacher Yi's words. Following that, he stared fiercely at Yanyu. Furthermore, I feel that this Yanyu is also part of the dark forces. Old man Guiyu's voice was very loud and rough. The moment he roared, the entire sky above the training ground reverberated with old man Guiyu's voice. The students of class of gods were first stunned by old man Guiyu's domineering manner. Following that, they looked at Yan Yu in horror. They all took a step back in unison, afraid that Yan Yu's matter would implicate them. How would Yi Luo dare to continue pleading for Yan Yu? If she continued to plead, she might be labeled as an accomplice of the dark forces. Yan Yu was also frightened out of his wits by old man Gui Yu's words. He immediately hugged his head and shook his head while crying, "I didn't. I'm not. I'm not from the underground forces. I don't know. I didn't." Teacher Yi also felt a chill down his spine. "Master Gui Yu, this can't be. Yan Yu rarely leaves the class of God. How? It doesn't matter if it's possible or not. I think we should arrest Yan Yu first and send him to the headquarters for investigation." Old man Gui Yu said impatiently. "Send him to the general hospital for investigation." Not only would he be kicked out of the class of gods, he would be severely punished. Once he was sent to the headquarters, he would be investigated to see if he was related to the underworld forces. Yan Yu's reputation wasn't the only thing affected. And House Yan's reputation. In the end, they found out that Yan Yu had nothing to do with the underground forces. However, this black mark would follow Yan Yu and House Yan for the rest of their lives. Old man Gui Yu was obviously going to destroy Yan Yu. The students of the class of gods couldn't help but secretly sigh in relief. He could offend anyone but not Yiqing Luo. Fortunately, they didn't target Yiqing Luo because they didn't want to deal with the lower class. Otherwise, they would be the unlucky ones now. Chapter 2255. Teacher Yi's body stiffened. He forced a smile and said, "Lord Gui Yu is right, I have no objections." Yan Yu looked at Teacher Yi in disbelief. He had actually really given up on her. He was actually not pleading for her anymore. Sending her to the general hospital was the same as destroying her life. Since there are no objections, then it's decided. Old man Gui Yu waved his hand and a hemp rope flew out from his sleeve. The hemp rope coiled around Yan Yu's body like a snake. Yan Yu was tightly bound by the hemp rope. Yan Yu cried out in pain. His limbs were bound by the hemp rope, and he fell to the ground uncontrollably. Her face contorted in disgust. There was also an extremely pungent smell coming from the hemp rope. "Master Gui Yu, where did you get the rope? You even brought along a hemp rope?" Yiqing Luo looked at Yan Yu's expression and knew how strong the smell of that hemp rope was. She purposely asked Old man Gui Yu. Old man Gui Yu did not think much of it. "I came in a hurry and could only pull a rope from the horse dung to rush over. Whoever bullied you, I will use the horse dung rope to whip him to death." Yiqing Luo burst out laughing. No wonder he was Gui Yu. Take hemp rope out of horse dung. He could even think of such a method. The faces of the students from the class of gods darkened when they heard that it was hemp rope and horse dung. Another female student clutched her chest and ran to the side to vomit. Yan Yu's expression turned even uglier. She kept retching, and her body kept struggling, trying to break free from this disgusting hemp rope. But how could she easily untie the hemp rope tied by old man Gui Yu? "Sirs, I will personally escort student Yan Yu to the dean, and the dean will send someone to escort student Yan Yu to the headquarters." Teacher Shenqing, who had been silent all this while, spoke up. At this moment, he no longer had his usual lazy expression on his face. Shenqing slowly walked to Yan Yu's side. Today, the students carried weights for 50 kilometers. They must be tired. Go back and rest. The students of the class of God subconsciously looked at the ghost doctor and Gui Yu. Seeing that none of them spoke. Only then did he say tentatively, "Then, we'll go back first." Shenqing nodded. The ghost doctor and old man Gui Yu still did not speak. Only then did the students carefully prepare to leave. At this moment, a clear and melodious voice came from the entrance of the training ground. What's going on? How could a physical training cause such a big commotion? The students of the class of gods bowed respectfully. Teacher Bai. And a headmaster. Yiqing Luo looked towards the direction of the voice. He saw a charming beauty walking over gracefully. The headmaster's robes on the woman had been modified to accentuate her figure. The places that should be protruding were protruding, the places that should be thin were thin, and the places that should be perky were perky. Bai Mei, why are you here? Shenqing frowned slightly. She had finally found a chance to let the students leave first. Why did Bai Mei come at this time? Bai Mei raised an eyebrow. Can't I come? She walked over and saw the ghost doctor and old man Guiyu. She was surprised. Old man Guiyu, ghost doctor. Yo, what kind of wind blew you two here? Why didn't you tell me in advance that you were coming? Are you trying to exclude me? The students of the class of gods were dumbfounded. Why did it seem like Teacher Bai and these two sirs had a close relationship? Yan Yu. Bai Mei noticed the tied-up Yan Yu who was sprawled on the ground. Chapter 2256. When Bai Mei heard this, she frowned and looked at Shenqing. What's going on? Shenqing shook her head. Zi Qianqian's death has agitated her. I'll bring her to the headmasters to calm down first. Zi Qianqian. Bai Mei's frown deepened. She pondered for a long time before she remembered. Are you talking about the girl who was executed by the general hospital? Didn't she die a long time ago? How did she provoke Yan Yu now? Shenqing lifted her eyelids and frowned at her, signaling her to shut up and stop talking. However, old man Guiyu could not bear to see that there was still someone who would save Yan Yu. He raised his voice and sneered, this student is certain that Zi Qianqian's death was caused by my Luo lass, and he is determined to find trouble with my Luo lass. Bai Mei seemed to have heard some big news. A shocked expression appeared on her beautiful face as she said, You're Luo, Old man Guiyu, don't tell me, are you in heat? The whole place was silent. Old man Guiyu's face turned the color of pig liver. Bai Mei. What nonsense are you spouting? Teacher Yi stepped forward and grabbed Bai Mei's wrist. Bai Mei looked puzzled. Did I guess wrong? It was old man Guiyu himself who said something about his family. Teacher Yi tightened his grip on Bai Mei's wrist. Bai Mei fell silent. Old man Guiyu's face was gloomy. To be able to make the hot-tempered and straightforward old man Guiyu so depressed. Obviously, he was furious. Yiqing Luo stood by Ghost Doctor's side as her pink lips pulled into an arc, revealing a sliver of ridicule. Her long and narrow eyes stared unblinkingly at Bai Mei's innocent face. She couldn't hold it in and laughed out loud. Did this elder Bai Mei really not know anything about this? Or was he pretending not to know? Did he say those words intentionally, or was it just a casual remark, a deliberate joke? Yiqing Luo was leaning towards the former. After all, she was the teacher of the class of gods. Regarding what happened in the class of gods, how could she not know? Others might believe it, but she didn't. Under the silent situation, Yiqing Luo's laughter was especially abrupt. Almost everyone's vision shifted onto Yiqing Luo. Bai Mei's gaze fell onto Yiqing Luo's face. This student, what are you laughing at? Nothing much, I just admire Master Bai's imagination. Yiqing Luo smiled in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Bai Mei didn't seem to understand Yiqing Luo's words. Yiqing Luo smiled lightly. Master Bai, just based on the two words my home, you can imagine that wandering ghost teacher has a lover, don't you have a big imagination? Bai Mei's expression froze. Yiqing Luo gave an extremely gentle smile as her voice also softened a little. Teacher Bai, It's fine if you say these words in front of your own people. But as a teacher, it's not appropriate for you to say these words in front of so many teenage boys and girls. Chapter 2257. Old Man Guayu was happy. But the ghost doctor refused to comply. He coldly glanced at Old Man Guayu and sneered, "Yes, a teacher for a day, a father for life. You are only the teacher of the little girl's brother. In terms of seniority, you are one level lower than me. I look down on you. Didn't you hear what little Luo said? I'm her family." Old Man Guayu was pissed. The ghost doctor laughed coldly again, "But I'm her Shifu, so I'm one level higher than you." "You?" Old Man Guayu glared at him. Speechless, Old Man Guayu hugged Yiqing Luo's arm. "Luo lass, you tell him, I am more important than him." Ghost doctor's brows creased when he saw that, but he went forward and held Yiqing Luo's wrist. The ghost doctor didn't say anything. But looking at his stance, it was obvious that he wanted to compete with Old Man Guayu. Yiqing Luo. What kind of timing was this, and these two could still quarrel? The surrounding students. Did they see wrongly? Why were the two adults so childish? Bai Mei, who had a gloomy expression on her face, was completely ignored. Staring at the young girl sandwiched between Guayu and Ghost Doctor, Bai Mei's expression became extremely complicated. Yan Yu, who was at the side, saw it clearly. Yan Yu secretly ridiculed Yiqing Luo in his heart, to actually go against Master Bai Mei. Offending Master Bai Mei, even if Yiqing Luo had Guayu and Gue to treat her, Master Bai Mei would absolutely not show any mercy. As if noticing Yan Yu's gaze, Bai Mei suddenly turned to look at her. Coincidentally, his eyes met Yan Yu's. Okay, I said something wrong. I didn't pay attention to propriety. You two don't need to argue. It's very difficult for the little girl to be caught in the middle. Bai Mei adjusted the expression on her face and smiled to smooth things over. Old Man Guayu saw Yiqing Luo's lifeless look and quickly let go of her hand. The ghost doctor also let go. Yiqing Luo hugged her arms as she looked at the both of them, Master Ghost Doctor, Master Guayu. Both of you are equally important in my heart, so can you not fight for it? If you continue to fight, you will only be able to split me into two. They could not help but laugh. The scene became lively. Shenqing took the opportunity to say, "Then I'll bring him to the dean first." Just as Shenqing was about to lift Yan Yu up, Bai Mei suddenly said, "Wait." Shenqing paused. Even though Yan Yu caused trouble for this student because of Zi Qianqian, he didn't have to go so far as to send him to the principal. If the other classes found out, wouldn't they think that something big had happened in our class? Shenqing looked troubled. It's a long story. We can talk about it later. Don't disturb the student's rest. As he spoke, he picked up Yan Yu and prepared to leave. Yan Yu immediately wailed again, "I know I was wrong, I won't dare to do it again." Yiqing Luo, I apologize to you, please don't chase me out of the class of gods. Master Bai, save me. Save me. Bai Mei looked at the struggling Yan Yu and felt a little pity for him. Following that, he turned to look at Yiqing Luo, "This student Yiqing Luo, today is also your first day in the class of gods and we will have to spend another month together. Harmony is the most important thing, why must you bully others too much?" Although Bai Mei's words sounded like she was pleading for Yan Yu. But no matter how one listened, it sounded like she was reprimanding Yiqing Luo for taking advantage of her power to bully others. Bai Mei. The three masters immediately stopped Bai Mei. Chapter 2258. Bai Mei raised her chin slightly, almost as if she was giving orders. Student Yiqing Luo, although you have old man Yu and ghost doctor to back you up, but master has to give you a piece of advice: always leave a way out so that we can meet again in the future. No matter what you do, don't be too childish and go too far. As Yiqing Luo listened on, she couldn't help but laugh. Women were really petty. Was Bai Mei taking revenge on him for mocking her for not being a qualified teacher? Yiqing Luo's laughter made Bai Mei's expression congealed. Yiqing Luo held down old man Yu, who was about to go berserk, as she smiled at Bai Mei. Master Bai's imagination is indeed strong. From the start till the end, Master Ghost Doctor and Teacher Yu were using logic to convince others, but in Master Bai's mouth, it became a threat instead. She snickered. Without waiting for Bai Mei to retort, she continued, Teacher Bai is right. In the coming month, I still have to interact with the students of the class of God, so I need to remove all obstacles that stand between me and the class of God. Bai Mei's expression turned cold. Yiqing Luo, are you trying to go against your superior? Then what Master Bai means is that you can use your identity as a master to insult me as you wish. Yiqing Luo laughed lightly, neither servile nor overbearing. What a glib tongue. Bai Mei gritted her teeth, looking displeased. Yiqing Luo sneered, I'm just arguing for what's right. Enough, Bai Mei. Shenqing furrowed his brows. The matter had already passed, so why did Bai Mei want to stir up the flames of war again? Shenqing, don't try to persuade me. Bai Mei strode forward and arrived in front of Shenqing. She stretched out her hand and snatched Yanyu, who was covered in the stench of horse dung. She lowered her head to look at Yanyu, whose face was covered in tears, and said word by word, Today, I will protect Yanyu. Thank you, Master Bai. Thank you, Master Bai. Yanyu was overjoyed. Bai Mei raised her head and glanced sideways at Yiqing Luo. Student Yiqing Luo, this is the class of gods. I hope that no matter what happens, everything will be settled in the class of gods. Bai Mei. Fatty Teacher and Teacher E growled in unison. Bai Mei's lips curled into a gorgeous smile as she glanced in the direction of Ghost Doctor and Old Man Yu. Both of you can rest assured, I will not let your girls suffer any grievances. After a pause, her smile became even more radiant. There was also a hint of arrogance. I've specially hired a helper to help me investigate this misunderstanding. Helper. The fat teacher's white eyebrows twitched. You. Did you also invite that person? Bai Mei raised her lips proudly, and her eyes were full of charm. If I ask, he will naturally help. The fat master's fat body trembled. Bai Mei, why did you? Of course, it's to let some students know that there is always someone better than you. Don't always think about bullying others. Bai Mei sneered and interrupted the fat teacher. Her expression suddenly changed, and her incomparably beautiful face instantly became extremely flirtatious. Every smile and frown was a seductive gesture. What a coincidence, that person is already here. Bai Mei's voice was soft and seductive. Then let's take this opportunity to let that person make a judgment on this matter. The expressions of the three masters froze. They saw Bai Mei was already jogging towards the entrance of the training ground. They immediately knelt down in that direction. This action made the students in the class of God stunned. Very quickly, they followed their own masters and knelt down. In the entire training ground, only the devil class, Old Man Yu and Ghost Doctor were still standing. At the training ground, a tall man slowly walked into the training ground. He walked against the light, and his face was hidden in the shadows, which couldn't be seen clearly. Chapter 22:59. Gradually, the man came closer. His long robe fluttered in the night wind, like rolling clouds. The moonlight poured down, as if it was plated with silver light. His black hair, which was not tied up, fluttered along with the man's footsteps. The glow of the luminous pearl shrouded that breathtakingly handsome face. A pair of peach blossom eyes that shone brighter than luminous pearls, as deep as the sea. The training ground fell into a dead silence. Everyone's eyes widened as they watched the approaching man. In a split second, even their breathing became extremely cautious. Dmo Xian, Fat Teacher was the first to regain his senses, and immediately bowed to the man. Everyone else snapped back to reality, and bowed to the man in unison. Greetings, Dmo Xian. The man stopped in front of them, expressionless. His deep black peach blossom eyes coldly swept across the group of people kneeling on the ground. Although he did not speak. However, the powerful aura emanating from his body was enough to make one's heart tremble. Everyone broke out in cold sweat. The three teachers knew that the Dmo Xian had come to the class of gods in recent days. But they thought that the Dmo Xian had not appeared. It was Bai Mei who greeted the Dmo Xian, and that one, but they never expected that Bai Mei would actually invite the Dmo Xian over. If the Dmo Xian stood on Bai Mei's side, and protected Yan Yu for her, even Ghost Doctor and Old Ghost Yu would have to give way. The three headmasters felt like dying. It was just a simple special training, how did it turn into such a situation? One by one, it was a rare sight. Appearing here as if it was free. When the students of the class of gods saw Dmo Xian in person, all their fatigue, irritation and negative emotions disappeared without a trace. In their eyes, in their hearts, there was only Dmo Xian. He was the legend of Nirvana realm. The palace lord of the imperial palace, the Dmo Xian. Bai Mei took in everyone's expressions. Her coquettish face was filled with pride. She raised her eyebrows and walked towards Dmo Xian. Dmo Xian, I'm sorry. Before the devil class came, the atmosphere in the class of gods had always been very good. She explained to Dmo Xian. There was only one meaning in his words. Today's farce was all caused by the devil class. Dmo Xian's brows creased slightly as his deep eyes swept past the direction of the devil class. Finally, it landed on, between the Ghost Doctor and Old Man Guiyu, on the beautiful girl dressed in red. No one knew if it was an illusion. Why was it so strange? It seemed that the coldness on His Majesty was gradually weakening. Bai Mei also noticed Dmo Xian's gaze. Her heart tightened. A woman's intuition had always been terrifyingly accurate. She bit her lips and leaned her body closer to Dmo Xian. Overlord, may be so bold as to hope that Overlord can uphold justice for May, and return peace to class of gods. Bai Mei's actions could be said to be extremely explicit. The expressions of the three teachers were immediately awkward, and their faces were stiff. However, just as Bai Mei was about to approach him, Dmo Xian had already turned sideways, avoiding Bai Mei's embrace. He glanced at Bai Mei indifferently, his thin lips moved slightly, and his voice was clear, like a bone-piercing cold wind. Teacher Bai Mei, please conduct yourself with dignity. Bai Mei's face stiffened. Chapter 2260. Bai Mei's face darkened as she stared angrily. Class of gods students obediently knelt on the ground as they stared at Dmo Xian, their eyes filled with respect. It wasn't them. Bai Mei's face darkened. That pair of flirtatious expression instantly turned sinister, filled with hostility. Her gaze fell on the 10 people standing upright not too far away. Those 10 people, ever since the appearance of the Overlord, they had been standing at the same spot, not moving an inch. Their attention wasn't on the Overlord. Instead, they were staring at her. And there were 2 female students, pointing at her, grinning from ear to ear. Obviously, those who laughed out loud were the students of devil class. Who allowed you to laugh? You even dare to make fun of Master? Don't you know how to respect your teacher? Bai Mei clenched her fists as she rebuked sternly. Yan Xiaoyi and Dan Baishi looked at each other, laughing even louder. The other students of Devil class looked at the two students and smiled helplessly, without any intention to stop them. Bai Mei was so angry that her whole body was trembling. You students without any morals. I'm going to bring you to the director's office. I want the director to give me an explanation. Yan Xiaoyi and Dan Baishi not only had no fear. On the contrary, they laughed even more wildly. Even the other students couldn't help but laugh. Good. Good, all of you. Students of the Devil class, all of you want to rebel, right? Bai Mei's tender and beautiful face was somewhat sinister. The embarrassment of being rejected by Dmo Xian was vented on the Devil class. Bai Mei's feet moved as fast as lightning, nearing the Devil class students. Her 5 fingers were like eagle claws, mercilessly pinching Yan Xiaoyi's shoulder. Go! I'm going to bring you to the director's office. You dare to touch her. Xiao Jin's expression congealed as he bellowed in rage. Just as Bai Mei's 5 fingers were about to lock onto Yan Xiaoyi, Xiao Jin suddenly embraced Yan Xiaoyi and pulled her into his embrace. He immediately raised his palm and struck towards Bai Mei's direction. Bai Mei didn't expect the students to retaliate, so she didn't pay attention. Xiao Jin's palm landed directly on Bai Mei's chest. This palm, Xiao Jin, was only used as a deterrent and didn't use much profound energy. Bai Mei was only forced to take a few steps back from the impact. But this was no longer a matter of using a few % of profound energy or suffering some kind of injury. Students of Devil class, how dare he attack the headmaster? And in front of so many students. In front of His Majesty. Where would she put her face? The expression on Bai Mei's face grew colder and more ferocious. Her fingers curled up stiffly. Suddenly, she looked at the 3 teachers, Old E, Old Fatty, Old Shin. All of you have seen it with your own eyes. The Devil class students openly attack teacher. Based on this alone, I have the right to order him to get out of the Heavenly Academy. The 3 headmasters' faces tightened. That was the only thing the D-Zun had said since he had appeared. They had no idea what the D-Zun was thinking. As for Old Man Gue Yu and Ghost Doctor, they didn't open their mouths, but stared straight at Yi Qing Luo. Naturally, they did not dare to speak rashly. Bai Mei was the only one screaming hysterically in the quiet training ground. But no matter how much she roared, not a single person echoed her. Bai Mei had never been so embarrassed before. Especially in front of Dmo Xian. She clenched her fists tightly as she raised her hand again and grabbed towards Xiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's direction. Bam! A ray of profound light shot over. Bai Mei was on her guard as she quickly retreated backwards. Chapter 2261. The red-clothed girl held a red feather fan in her hand, gently waving it. Her eyes, which were as bright as stars, stared at Bai Mei with a faint smile. The young girl's face was extremely beautiful, and she had the temperament of a fairy. She was also as gorgeous and enchanting as a rose. Obviously, she was just a little girl who was still wet behind the ears. However, compared to Bai Mei, who was still charming, she was even more bewitching. This made Bai Mei's heart thump even more clearly. Yi Qing Luo. Are you trying to stand up for them? Bai Mei gritted her teeth and asked angrily. Stand up for me. Yi Qing Luo raised her brows slightly. Such a small matter, I don't need to stand up for you. Small matter. Bai Mei's anger surged. Yi Qing Luo's words meant that Yi Qing Luo totally didn't put her in her eyes. Yi Qing Luo's lips curved upwards, revealing a sweet amorous feeling. I just have a few words to say to Master Bai. Bai Mei knew that those words were definitely not good words. How could she possibly allow Yi Qing Luo to humiliate her? Bai Mei took a deep breath and adjusted the expression on her face. Following that, she turned her head with an aggrieved look and looked at Dmo Xian, Overlord. Look at these devil-class students. Speak. A cold word interrupted Bai Mei's affectedly coquettish voice. Bai Mei was startled. Her deliberate expression of grievance and amorous feelings froze on her face. But Dmo Xian's eyes weren't looking at Bai Mei. Instead, it fell onto Yi Qing Luo without blinking. Apparently, the word which he spat out earlier was directed at Yi Qing Luo. Say. Say what? Bai Mei reacted abruptly as her pupils dilated and looked at Dmo Xian in shock. Earlier Yi Qing Luo said that she had something to say to Master Bai. Dmo Xian's say meant. In other words, let Yi Qing Luo say it. Lord Dizun. Bai Mei's throat tightened. She had never expected that the Lord Dizun, who had been so gentle in the past few days, would suddenly become so unreachable. She thought that she could rely on Dmo Xian's power to suppress the arrogant Yi Qing Luo. Unexpectedly, Dmo Xian did not have the slightest intention to save her face. What was going on? Even if the Overlord did not like her. But he would never embarrass her like this in front of others. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose as her charming eyes sparkled brilliantly, making eye contact with Dmo Xian. She smiled sweetly. Her bright smile was like a deadly poppy flower, peerlessly beautiful. First, as a teacher, Master Bai has no self-respect for seducing a man in front of so many students. I very much question whether Master Bai has the ability to be a teacher. Secondly, White Master failed to seduce a man and was instead warned by the man to please conduct yourself. This was indeed an extremely ridiculous matter, wasn't it? Since Master Bai has shamelessly seduced the Overlord in public, then, it's only natural for my two sisters to laugh at you, isn't it? Two consecutive, isn't that so, rhetorical questions, each one more forceful than the last. Bai Mei was so shocked that she couldn't even open her mouth to refute. Yi Qing Luo raised her slender brows as the corners of her mouth twitched in disdain. Thirdly, Master Bai did not allow any explanation and made a move on the students. Is he trying to use his identity as a teacher to suppress the students? If so, why can't my classmates retaliate in self-defense? Could it be that in the class of God, only the teachers are allowed to abuse the students and the students can only silently accept it? No resistance. When Yi Qing Luo's words fell, Chapter 2262. Yi Qing Luo squinted her eyes. In that case, only Master Bai has such an idea. You. Bai Mei regained her senses, fuming with anger. Yi Qing Luo, you are talking nonsense. Yi Qing Luo snorted disdainfully. An old cow wants to eat young grass. Would the Overlord fancy you? And even try to seduce him? Where's your shame? She dragged out the last syllable. Oh, I forgot. You are already shameless. Where's your shame? Yi Qing Luo. Bai Mei was so angry that her eyes turned black and her body trembled uncontrollably. An old cow eating young grass. Yi Qing Luo actually scolded her for eating young grass. Was she old? How was she old? She was obviously skilled and able to serve the Overlord better. What's more, they were cultivators of profound qi. There was no difference in age at all right. If they were to go to the upper realm, any 12 or 13-year-old child could very possibly be a senior who had been cultivating for hundreds of years. The Overlord doesn't fancy me. Don't tell me he likes you. Look at that foxy look of yours, your eyes are glued to the Overlord. How dare you make fun of me? Bai Mei was so angry that she blurted out. Yi Qing Luo smiled instead of getting angry. She tilted her head and smiled sweetly. That's right, the Overlord doesn't like an old cow like you. He likes people like me who are pure and untainted, pure and innocent, beautiful and young little beauties. Devil class students. Qing Luo, where's your shame? Where's your shame? For the sake of His Majesty, you've even thrown away your moral integrity. Class of God students. They admitted that Yi Qing Luo was indeed beautiful, but where did she get the confidence to think that the overlord would fancy her? Moreover, was it really good to boast about herself? The three masters were speechless. Could it be that this girl had been bewitched by the overlord's peerless face? Bai Mei heard Yi Qing Luo's words and gave a mocking laugh. She stared at Yi Qing Luo, her eyes filled with ridicule. Yi Qing Luo, aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Do you really think that the overlord is such a shallow person? How dare you embarrass yourself in front of His Majesty with your looks? Who do you think you are? Really? Yi Qing Luo raised her brows as she gave an incomparably enchanting smile. Suddenly, the corners of her mouth curled up and a trace of craftiness flashed across her charming eyes. Following that, she openly walked towards Dmo Xian's direction. Bai Mei's heart couldn't help but trembled as she stared at Yi Qing Luo in shock. Yi Qing Luo. Surely she wouldn't really want to seduce the overlord in public, right? Bai Mei wanted to stop Yi Qing Luo from getting near. But before she could act, she recalled the scene of Dmo Xian avoiding her touch. She paused to stop him. Just based on Yi Qing Luo, that tender little bean sprout, how could she arouse the overlord's interest? Ha! She was going to take a good look at how Yi Qing Luo was rejected by the overlord, how embarrassing she was. Yi Qing Luo's peripheral vision shot a glance at Bai Mei, who was smiling delightedly. Her lips curled up even more. Her long and narrow eyes slightly curved. She met Dmo Xian's eyes and her smile widened. Finally, he stopped. The distance between her and Dmo Xian was only the distance of one step. Overlord, I want to seduce you, do you have a problem with that? Yi Qing Luo looked up at him, her charming eyes reflected the man's handsome face. Everyone was taken aback. Seducing someone or what? She knew it in her heart. How could she say it directly in front of the person she wanted to seduce? Dmo Xian's eyes drooped, sparkling ripples flashed across his peach blossom eyes. Chapter 2263. His elegant eyes met with her enchanting eyes. For eyes met and everything was silent. Both of them didn't say a word. They just looked at each other quietly. These two people were calm. But the crowd couldn't stay calm. Their hearts were about to jump out from their throats. What was with this strange atmosphere? Why didn't the overlord say anything? Yi Qing Luo said she wanted to seduce the overlord, why didn't she take the next step? In this strange and heavy atmosphere, the atmosphere was very strange. The crowd only felt that half of their lives were about to be scared out of their wits. Bai Mei clenched her fingers tightly as she looked at the two of them looking at each other without saying a word. There was a warm feeling in her heart. She was so angry that her eyes turned red as she pointed at Yi Qing Luo angrily and started scolding, Yi Qing Luo. The overlord didn't even want to bother about you and you still don't know. The word shame had yet to come out from her mouth. Dmo Xian glanced sideways as his peripheral vision casually swept past her. Bai Mei shuddered as she felt a burst of chilly air pressing down on her. It was just a faint peripheral vision. But it revealed a bone-chilling coldness. Following that, she saw Dmo Xian's gaze was completely on Yi Qing Luo alone. His dark eyes were glistening as his thin lips curled into an evil cold arc. You. How are you going to seduce me? It wasn't hard to hear the joy in his voice that was as mellow as fine wine. The crowd's hearts were pounding as they looked at Yi Qing Luo in disbelief. They couldn't imagine that after Yi Qing Luo's bold and rude action, the overlord, he wasn't angry. and joked with Yiqing Luo. How could this be possible? The most shocked was Bai Mei. Bai Mei's flirtatious face was twisted into a ball due to shock and jealousy. However, this wasn't the end. The shock she gave the crowd hadn't ended yet. The young lady who was standing in front of Dmo Xian raised her slender brows slightly after hearing Dmo Xian's words. The young lady's eyes were curved, narrow and charming. She burst out laughing. Her laughter was filled with flirtatiousness and sweetness. It wasn't a deliberate act of coquettishness. It was extremely soothing to the ears. After that, the young lady stretched out a hand and hooked it around Dmo Xian's neck. With a little force, Dmo Xian's body leaned forward. The girl tiptoed and pressed her pink lips on the man's thin lips. It was a light kiss. The young lady moved her lips away and released his neck as she looked at Dmo Xian's eyes with a smile. Such a seduction, will Overlord be able to accept it? Night. Qing. Fall. Bai Mei screamed Yiqing Luo's name hysterically. Her entire body was shaking uncontrollably as her eyes stared deadly at Yiqing Luo, filled with dense murderous intent. B*TCH. Little slut. Yiqing Luo dared to blaspheme the Overlord. Yiqing Luo actually dared to do such a thing to the Overlord. These few days, Dmo Xian had been staying in the God class. She racked her brains but was still unable to climb onto Dmo Xian's bed. Even if they were to take a step closer to Dmo Xian, they would be met with Dmo Xian's cold stare. But, Yiqing Luo, that little slut, she actually dared to disrespect the Overlord in front of everyone. Bai Mei was so angry that she gritted her teeth and couldn't wait to tear Yiqing Luo into pieces. The Overlord is not someone that a slut like you can blaspheme. I'm going to kill you. Bai Mei gave a furious howl of unwillingness as her figure suddenly scuttled towards Yiqing Luo's direction, attacking directly. The crowd then regained their senses from the shock. They saw Bai Mei actually made a move on Yiqing Luo. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.